All right, how you doing, everyone? My name is Gene. I'll be the educator and the presenter of the self-build-up program, A Father for a Father. Let's go on to the next slide. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna just break down briefly. There's gonna be more videos. This is just part one, but we're gonna briefly just give a presentation on what's going on with the involvement of the fathers, the effects of it, and how there can be a change based upon the parent or the parent involvement and the fathers being involved, because the fathers play a crucial role in the upbringing of children. All right, the first slide. The father is the problem. Why? Here's the problem related to father absence in prison in two stats. There are 2.7 million children with a parent in prison or jail. 92% of the parents in prison are fathers. See, I got the link right here. So this is proven. 92% of the parents who are in prison are fathers. So fathers not being in their children's life is a serious problem, and it must be rectified in order for us to even begin healing and repairing and educating these children who's growing up without their father. Because you got the single mother raising the child, and it's a burden onto them. And that burden, because they have to be a father and a mother. They got to be a provider and a nurturer. So that's too much of a burden. So there's going to be a lot of qualities and abilities neglected and missed out on. All right, so let's move on to the next slide. Child support. Now, when we hear child support, it's always referred to the man has to pay money. That's not child support. That's a grown man being told what to do for the responsibilities that he put upon himself that he's neglecting. That's that's not what child support is. That's a man that's not being responsible. Child support is an African proverb. Cross the river in a crowd, and the crocodile won't eat you. What does that mean? Look at your child out there by himself, or look at your daughter, look at your son. They out there by themselves in a society that got sharks, that got wolves, that got predators, that got criminals, that got pimps, that got drug dealers, that got gangs. Those represent the crocodile. If they out there with no guidance, no shelter, no wisdom, no understanding, they're gonna become prey to these predators out there that love to prey on naive and gullible and uneducated souls. And that's based upon the parents not being involved in the upbringing of their children. Another proverb is many hands make light work. That's a beautiful one right there. Many hands make light work, meaning there's power in number. So you got 10 people working on one project, everybody's going to be delegated a light task. But you got one person working on a task, that's heavy. So now your child got to deal with growing up by themselves, going through puberty by themselves, going through their first heartbreak, their first confused situation, so on and so forth, and they're by themselves. So that makes the work heavy for them, right? So protection comes in numbers. There is a missing side when you are not in your child's life. Just look at it. Your child is in the middle. You got the mother and the father, and your child is in the middle. If the father's not there, then there's nobody protecting that side of the child where the father is supposed to be. Now the mother is there, right? But now she has to jump back and forth now to be a father and a mother. So now when she jumps on the father's side, now the side she's supposed to be protecting is left unguarded. Now when she jumps back to guard that, the side of the father is unguarded. But now she's jumping back and forth, she's tired. So now she needs to break. Now both sides are unguarded. See, child support is when you teach your child what you were not taught growing up. All right? That's proper child support. Remember that. That is proper child support. All right? Okay. Let's go to the next one. Old wisdom breeds new power. For if they fall, the one will lift up his fellow. But woe to him that is alone when he falleth, for he have not another to help him up. Right? That's ancient wisdom right there. When you fall and you're alone, right? If you got somebody there to pick you up, then you're happy or you. But if nobody's there to help you, you on your own. That's a terrible state to be in when you by yourself. Just imagine what it's like. Well, you probably didn't been through it, but imagine what it's like when you're alone and you scared, and the only way to get out the situation is to give in to your predator. Give in to that individual that got your back against the wall. You don't know what it's like, but your children is going through that. And you wouldn't even know because you don't care. But you gotta be there for you. You gotta be involved. Involvement. Now, what is involvement? See, forget about the relationship that did not work with you and the mother. You must be involved with your child. So you, at some point, the mother and the father got to come together and say, we're not together, but there is something in between us that's holding us together, and this is this child. So how do we diplomatically come together to give this child the best education that they need? See, parents are not thinking about that. The next time you and your wife or you and your husband have an argument, take the child and put them in the middle of both of you guys and say, okay, whatever we're about to talk about, whatever we're about to discuss, and whatever argument we have, let's put the child in the middle. Let's see how much of it matters, and let's see what matters. And for the fellas out there, just remember this: a soft answer turneth away wrath. So a soft answer turns away wrath. Humble yourself, right? That power struggle is destroying relationships. How you deal with your spouse is how your child's gonna deal with society, right? So the anger tantrums and lack of patience, lack of wisdom, lack of understanding, your child is gonna learn that, and they're gonna grow up and say, okay, this is how I'm gonna be. No patience. I better get my way, or I'm gonna be mad. I got a student right now going through that. When he doesn't get things his way, he struggles. He gets angry. We're watching this. I'm watching this in the students that we're teaching at the moment, right? So a power struggle is a losing battle. If you got to go back and forth with your spouse, you got to go back and forth with your child, you got to force them to listen to you. Anytime you got to force somebody to listen to you, you losing. There should be no force there. There should be no force there. Fatherless cycles now. See, because our fathers were not in our lives, we pass that negative energy onto our children by not being in their lives. You know what it was like growing up without a father. So why would you not be in your child's life? Now, could it be you're jealous? Well, you're jealous of the fact that if you're there for your child, they're going to have better opportunities than you? I don't know. Is it because you're afraid to own up to the fact that you don't know a damn thing and you need to be re-educated? I don't know. Or is it because you're just that stupid and irresponsible where you walk around just having children? I don't know. But all is known is that it's understood if you grow up without a father, there is a strong possibility that you will end up in jail, dead, traumatized, and unsuccessful. So we got to break that cycle of fatherless cycles. We got to break it and start creating father cycles. So you got to be in you got to be in your child's life. So if you lay down with a woman and you're intimate with that woman and you get her pregnant, whether you want to be with her or not, you have to be there for that child. You got to humble yourself and you got to come to an agreement with that woman. And if not, there are legal routes you can take, and it's worth it. You know, there's situations where individuals want to be around their daughters and they can't. But if you can be around your daughter, why not take advantage of that? Why not take full advantage of that? So let's break the fatherless cycles. Very important. Now, stress, right? We understand stress. I'm putting stress inside this platform because stress is something that's oftenly misunderstood. So now, stress is a response to pressure. So there's good stress and there's bad stress, right? You could be under pressure because you're getting ready to go play the biggest football game of your life. That's good. You could be under pressure because you're getting ready to go on a date with a woman that you finally, been gone trying to talk to. You for that pressure because whatever y'all buy, whatever she eats, whatever you eat, you're gonna have to pay the bill. That's good pressure. But now there's got that stress where you and the mother of your child is arguing and you don't want to be around her, but you want to be around the child. But if you're around the mother, y'all gonna argue. That's pressure right there. Now you stressed. But now you know what happens after a while? You stop showing up because you don't want to argue, and slowly but surely, you and your child grow a grow a long line of disconnection. So another way stress happens is when your sense of self is threatened, right? Because you might be out of a job, or that woman is just tearing your manhood down, and now you feel threatened. So now you're stressed because you don't want to be in that environment, right? So stress, a feeling that you are being pushed in a direction you don't want to go in. The burden of a father, the burden of the decision you made to be with the mother of your kids. So we understand these things happen, but you got to realize you put yourself in that situation the minute you had a child with this woman. So now what you're gonna do in that situation, you're gonna allow yourself to displace the relationship between you and that child. So you gotta manage the stress management. You gotta be able to manage that, still man up and be involved and do what it takes to be there from you from birth. See, if you try to jump in at 5, it's gonna be difficult. 7, but once that baby's born, just hop in there and stay there. Talk to that child, mingle with that child, and block out that negativity. It's gonna be very important for that child. Now, anyone can have kids. So not everyone can be a parent. So just because you got kids don't mean you're a parent. See, in order to be a successful parent, you must be a successful person. Now, what is a successful person? Success is when you complete a task that's going to better you. So when you do something to make yourself better, that's successful. When I became a father, I know that I didn't know much about being a father. I understood gotta be there, throw a ball with them, but really the dynamics, right? The dynamics in being a parent, the constant change, right? Just that deep psychological understanding on being a father. I went to school. I went to school for early child education to better myself in fatherhood. So that's what you got to do when you're gonna be a father. Anything you do to better yourself, that's success. So as you're doing that, your child's gonna watch that and they're gonna mimic that, and they themselves is gonna become better. So success, that's key, man. Okay, I call this the stats, right? Steps to achieve that success. You want to set a goal that's measurable, make it realistic, right? Come into reality and set a measurable goal. Success, by definition, success is the accomplishment of an aim or purpose. So it makes sense to figure out what you're chasing. You want to be strategic. You want to stay organized, manage your time, remain focused, rejoice or revise. If it works, if it don't, revive, go back, start over again. If it don't work, dust yourself off and try it again. That's what it's about. Be strategic. How you gonna achieve these goals? Is it to buy a house, start a business? Is it to start school? Is it to have better communication with the mother of your children? So you want to. So these are the steps to achieving success. There's steps. There's rules to the game. There's rules to this. That you was able to deal with that woman to be intimate with her. So you could deal with that woman to kind of to co-parent, coexist for the sake of that child. The future of your child is in your hands. Now, what is family? Right? I know everybody got their own definitions, but this is what a family is. Family is a social unit in which adult spouses or partners and their children share economic, social, and emotional rights and responsibilities, and a sense of commitment and identification with each other. That's a family. You come together, and what's economics? How you spend your time and your resources and your energy. That begins at home. The primary source of education is home. The primary source of education begins with the mother and the father. You are the first teachers. You got to teach them what economics is, how to deal with their time, how to deal with their resources. Very important. You read the book Rich Dad, Poor Dad, right? The rich dad is teaching their son or their daughter. They're teaching them about the economy. They're teaching them about growth and wealth. They're building with the children. The poor dad shies away from the economy and makes the child think that it's okay what's going on out there, but it's not. You need to prepare your child for the future that you won't be strong enough to operate in but they're gonna be in their youth. You don't want them to go through what you went through when you was in your youth, but you couldn't operate economically, so you struggled financially. But you gotta prepare your child. Now, social. What's the word in social? Society. How are they gonna socialize themselves when they're in society? Well, it depends on how you socialize with them in the house. First teachers. Emotional. How they gonna deal with their first heartbreak? How they gonna deal when they find someone they love? How they gonna feel when the friends don't want to be around them? How they gonna feel when they gotta change from different parts of life or different worlds and different states or different mental states? All that is emotions. They gotta control that. You gotta teach them about that. Responsibilities, right? Don't blame people for their failures. Don't blame the teacher. Don't blame the stoplight. Don't blame anybody, but take ownership to their mistakes so they can ultimately become better. Right? That's key. And commitment. You teach your kids commitment. You hear people say, "I'm not committed," right? Because their parents was never committed to them. And identification. Show them who they are, right? So they can build up to those steps of self-actualization, self-awareness, self-concept, building that self-esteem, self-awareness, identity. Now, families vary in their structure, of course. Right now, there you got the families with one parent, two parent, single child. But families have that common structure. They got to teach love, how to be loved, economics, how to build, how to structure, how to work, how to gain independency. You understand? So, for one thing, they are the children's earliest and most sustained source of social contact. Got a YouTube video, send it off to you guys. But yeah, check this out. The first interaction of a society begins with the mother and the father. So y'all breaking up, y'all arguing. All you're doing is teaching your child how to do that with society. So remember that. What is a family? That's a social unit. The first form of society is a family. Now, the family system. Family members influence each other both directly and indirectly. See, the direct effects are more obvious. Indirect effects involve a two-step process, right? How the father affects the children is how the father would deal with the mother. How the mother would affect the child indirectly is how the mother would deal with the father. Even though you're cursing out your father or you're cursing out the mother, you're indirectly cursing out your child. And you're teaching them how to deal with the women in society. Because that's the first woman that they see. So now you're going to teach them how to deal with other women that might make the mistakes that the mother of your child may have made. The mothers affect their children indirectly by modifying the quantity and quality of how they deal with the father. So which in turn affects the child's behavior. So it's proven that a child's behavior is affected by how their parents deal with each other. So how you deal with the mother and how the mother deal with the father affects the behavior of the child. So children influence the relationship between their mother and father indirectly by altering the behavior of parents. So children, how mom, you got mama's boy, daddy's girl, right? Children have that ability to manipulate the relationships as well. That's why you guys have to coexist and become one and be a unified front to build these children, right? So that's a family system. The encouraging figure. See, at least one role model in imitation distance. Now, watch this. You have your child watching TV. That's imitation distance. So now you know why. If your child is acting more like the people on TV, you're doing a bad job as a parent. If you're not your child's role model, you're doing a bad job as a parent. Because the role that your child should play in life should be modeled by mommy or daddy. See, the load must be distributed. The nurture and the encourager. You understand that? You got mommy and daddy. That's supposed to be balanced, and that's the equilibrium of parenthood. Aiming to see the best or better in your child goes in how much you love your child. Like Cornel West said, if you don't love me, you can't lead me. So if you're not leading your children properly, how can you show them and demonstrate the love that you say that you have for them? Okay, as a parent, what do you do first? Educate. You teach them, you get it up in their mind, and then you demonstrate. So you show them that everything that was in their mind, now you show them how to demonstrate it. And then what happens? Then you relate. Then you show them how to relate that in society. Educate, demonstrate, relate, and then you execute. Steps in parenthood. She is a self-builder program, a parent, a father for a father, becoming more involved. The overprotective mother, something we're not going to stay long on. I'm just going to keep it brief. When a mother is overprotective over a child, you're teaching that child to strengthen their weakness. So now when you finally get too weak to protect them, they are gonna yearn for somebody else to protect them because you're overprotecting them. You have to let your child feel that bruise on their knee. You have to feel to let them fall off the bike. You have to let them feel losses and failure so you can educate them on how to build themselves up from those bad situations. But if you overprotect them constantly, then you're going to constantly teach them to depend and never to build on themselves. And you're going to take away their spirit of innovation and you're going to teach them negativity. See, the father is absent, so now the mother has to split herself into two parents. She is not a man, but has to act like one to create a balance. That is madness. That's why the father has to be in there so they can what? Parental equilibrium. The equilibrium of parenthood. Okay?